Well, here we are, guys. We're watching Evil Dead 2 tonight. If you haven't seen, we've already done the Evil Dead. You can check it out on our channel. But here we are, Evil Dead 2, 1987, Jason. A sequel that came 6 years later. And apparently it must have been tough to get Sam to jump on again, mate. But here they are again with a lot of the same crew, I believe. And bam.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's a weird sequel. It's weird. And it only gets weirder from here. And I love that.
Came out on March 13th, 1987. So it wasn't a Halloween movie. With a budget of
thanks. Just in time for St. Patrick's Day. Yeah.
Just in time for St. Pat's Day, exactly. With a budget of $3.5 million, it only theatrically made $5.9 million.
Hey, which that's a profit.
Kinda. You didn't get its profit from there, mate. It got its profit from VHS. That's where this film
the actual VHS. Yes. Although,
yeah, well, I've actually got the cover here. Does this look familiar to you?
Yes, I remember going into video stores and seeing that awful looking skull just giving me the side eye, and I'm just thinking, I don't know if I want to rent that or not, and I didn't for many years. I mean, even
really?
I don't think I saw this movie until I was in college, because
well,
it was just that side eye. I just couldn't get past it.
Well, you're jumping straight into memories. Let's talk about some memories of this film. Like you wouldn't have seen it at the cinema. I don't know if it even got a theatrical release down here. However, that VHS cover, which is iconic on its own, was the eye catcher. And certainly in 1987, dude, I am so deep into the horror genre as a 12-year-old, I think 13-year-old at that point, that of course I watched this and was confused by it when I first watched it, because I was expecting a completely different movie than what I was delivered. And rewatching it, I'm not as confused, but it is kind of baffling in a fun way. What was your memories?
It is definitely a genre twisting Three Stooges meets The Exorcist kind of thing. I did not watch this movie until I was in college. I would say probably around 94, 95. And I watched it and absolute confusion, because I was under the impression that it was a classic and that it was a horror must watch. And I watched it, and I think I had this look on my face the entire time. But I did enjoy it. And it is definitely one of the more unique horror movies that you will ever find, just because of its sheer audacity and goofiness. And I was all there for it. It was fantastic.
Absolutely. I very much found myself looking at this. It dawned on me about 30 minutes through the movie that this is a Warner Brothers type influenced horror cartoon, living cartoon. And it's a great way to go. And what a bold choice to do that, Jason, is to go for the goofiness of it. And I think, honestly, I can't think of any other franchise that was going so comic and slapstick at the time. I mean, maybe Nightmare on Elm Street 3 was the same year. It's probably the only thing that had a little bit of comedy in it.
Not to this degree, no.
Not to this degree, because everything is turned, to quote the great Spinal Tap, up to 11.
Yes.
Everything.
You basically have the witch in the you basically have the witch in the basement going, what you doing there, Doc?
Exactly.
Duck season, rabbit season, Bruce Campbell season, duck season, Bruce Campbell season. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
It's absolutely nuts. All right. So let's get into the plot of this film.
Oh my God.
If there is such thing as a plot for this film.
Okay. Here's the plot. Evil Dead 1 on cocaine. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's the plot. Evil Dead 1 on cocaine. And a Red Bull chaser.
I will say straight off the bat, with that very simple plot, you can see every bit of that $3.5 million on the screen. Because the plot is a visual thing, isn't it? There's such a wafer-thin plot that it relies heavily on its visuals, which it executes brilliantly in my mind, because it is It is a cartoon. That's all I kept thinking watching the whole thing. This is great. I'm into it. I understand the goofiness. I get it. But I can imagine a lot of people, as we were when we first kind of jarred because of that, because they weren't expecting, and I don't think any of the marketing material really said, hey, come and see this horror comedy. Like, everyone just expected, pencil in the ankle bit again, which is pretty horrible. But yeah, I like it. Obviously, with that very thin plot, we've got a couple who go to a cabin. In some ways, I was thinking, is this set after Evil Dead? And early on, I don't know if it completely cuts out the existence of the Evil Dead. Is Bruce Campbell playing the same character and he's lured somebody else back with it unwittingly? Or is it just a new character? Or does that previous film don't exist? I don't know. But it doesn't matter, does it?
I don't know. I was kind of thinking the same thing, but I am kind of the mind that there is an Evil Dead multiverse. And that one movie takes place in Universe 1, this one takes place in 2. Obviously Army of Darkness is a continuation of this one, but I like to think that I don't even remember what the remake was called. The one with the female Ashley. What was it called?
It was Evil Dead.
Okay, Evil Dead is in another universe, and Evil Dead Rise, I think that's in a separate universe. I mean, it's just a bunch of different little universes because it's all universal, multi-dimensional. Yeah. Who cares? Who cares? Do you ask if all the Bugs Bunny cartoons take place in the same universe? No. In one, Bugs Bunny is an opera singer. In another one, Bugs Bunny's an accountant. In another one, he's playing basketball with LeBron James. It's who cares? Just as long as they're good. LeBron James was not good, though.
All right, let's as we get into the plot. So a couple decide to go and stay at a cabin. While they're there, very early on, he discovers a tape deck. It's obviously, we get into the backstory in the Comic-Con, and basically that's as far as I'm going to go with the plot, because as soon as that happens, this movie just goes on a roller coaster, and it starts about minute 7. Like, they are so efficient getting to the meat of this movie. And I think it's one of the genius moves of Sam Raimi was to go, you know what? We're not doing 30 minutes of build-up here. We're in, and we're in now. And I think that was a very smart move.
Yes. It definitely wastes very little time with setup. It is... You know what you're in for within 7 minutes. You know what's coming. You know what's going on. I mean, there's 2 people in this movie, and within 7 minutes, one of them's dead. It's all, I don't know. It's all splayed open right there. And if you're still under doubts by that point, maybe this movie's too smart for you.
Well, let's have a look at the cast of this, because I think this is really... The big strength of this is Bruce Campbell, obviously, doing a wonderful performance, which in the beginning you could be easily convinced that he's a terrible actor because of his performance early on with the couple. Like, hey, why don't you get a drink and hey, like it's cringy, but it's by design, Jason, because we are in a cartoon, so he is amping up even that, and from the moment he gets possessed to the rest of the film, I think it's a fantastic performance that he had to carry on his shoulders, because it's the amount of physical comedy. And you hear the stories, Jace, you know that Sam Raimi loves to torture Bruce Campbell, and you see it in this film a lot. How much did he get beaten around in this film?
Oh my gosh.
Through the trees bit. Remember when he's getting thrown through the trees?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I
love it.
It was phenomenal. So he was great. Everyone else in this film, unremarkable to me. Like, they're definitely your second-tier actors there. I
think they were just people they pulled off the street and was like, hey, you want to be in a movie? Do you have an aversion to blood?
Yeah.
Would you like to take a shower in it? Let's go. Come on.
Yeah. She's kind of serviceable and has some hilariously bad line readings later in the film. these guys here, like that guy there, like who is he? He's just like he's your Ken in a way, but a really bad like blonde bimbo dude who only services to be a vessel to a demon. That's the only thing he brings to it.
I love the fact that they got a rather good-looking, generic Hollywood-looking guy into this movie, only to just instantly kill him within a few minutes, and then have him turn into like you said, a vessel for evil. And I love that subversion of expectations. It's just so much fun.
And it's so great. And it's in that point when you get those characters come in, it is halfway through the film. So it's when you think about going back to the plot, you've got this film where basically we then spend almost 20 minutes with Ash as he's finding out what's going on. He gets possessed, he gets out of it, and then you bring in these other characters. So it actually is a good time to bring it in. It's quite refreshing at that point to bring those characters in. And help drive the second half of the film with their easily despised bodies, because they are there for the kill count, really, aren't they?
They are, and the kill count welcomes them with open arms and a slap on the butt. Just come on, man. Let's go. I mean, come on. The hillbilly character was so generic and off the shelf. You were just basically there should have been just a countdown over his head, like dying in 5, 4, 3.
Yeah.
And I was fine with that. It's
because it's all about that. We need to see death, and we need to see lots of it. And when they do death, everything, as I said earlier, is heightened. When they bleed, these demons, they don't just bleed; they shoot gushes of blood out,
like Kill Bill
from walls and
Kill Bill Campbell. There we go.
Yeah. And it's phenomenal. But but for me, the highlight of this film really is the moment once his hand becomes possessed, I think this film then jumps another level. Don't you think?
Yes. I am fully of the conspiracy camp that the movie Idle Hands was made by somebody who saw that one scene and thought, let's make a whole movie about that. Idle Hands is amazing, by the way. I love that movie. Evil Dead 2, my gosh, the fact that Bruce Campbell has never won an Oscar is just a blight on our society and on
He's
the
having
Academy.
to do that.
Yes.
He's having to do that and be terrified at the same time, and then do comedy, like slapstick comedy with it. Like, yeah, unbelievable. But it's the little touches that enhance this, because you notice that hand had noises all of a sudden. Yes. Oh, it had vocals. Which
Yeah, it's just amazing.
It was so good. It was so good. And then, when the whole room becomes alive, I love that scene, Jace.
Oh my gosh, he absolutely
loses his mind.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the moment. And he tells the audience, he looks straight at the camera and go, I'm cooked. This is it.
Yep.
I'm losing it.
I'm not making it out of this movie, kids. You may not either.
Yeah. And then, obviously the way they introduced his chainsaw was wonderful. Because the initial thing we got the chainsaw is the headless corpse of his girlfriend.
Oh my gosh, I was laughing so hard.
So good.
At the headless corpse of his girlfriend. Just
brilliant.
This movie is the greatest thing ever.
It's so good. So with all the goofiness, Jace, as we come to pretty well finishing our chat on this, I do want to mention that they were pretty good at building lore. They were building in this film. Very well, I think.
They did an excellent job. I think better than the first movie did, of not only building that lore and the backstory, but also raising the stakes. I think that all the lore that they built made everything more dangerous and kind of brought it beyond just these bunch of goofballs in the cabin. This is something that could potentially end the world if we don't take care of it now. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
And it kind of foretells, it pays off. And that's the most important thing as we get to the end of this film, and the most WTF is going on now is the end of this film where Ash, as foretold, would arrive in the year 1300 and it kills a demon, and he is hailed. The man from the sky who came to...
Yes, the man from...
And basically, the question I have for you, Jason, do you think he had already had 3 sorted out? Or do you think, oh no, this will be fun, we'll try him a twist ending?
I think it was a twist ending. I would, if he did know where the next movie was going to go, if he had already had a plan for Army of Darkness in his head, or as he was calling it for a while, the Medieval Dead, which I kind of wish they'd gone with that title, because it's just an awesome title.
Yeah, it's a good punny time.
I would be very surprised. I think it was just a cliffhanger, like, okay, we're just gonna throw them a big WTF and be done with it. I could be wrong though. I don't know.
Well, you know, you could be, because think about it. He did this film, and then he went and did Darkman straight after this.
Ooh, love Darkman.
And then the film straight after that was Army of Darkness.
Yes.
So it could have been a deal of one for you, one for me type of deal.
That is honestly, Army of Darkness is the first Evil Dead movie I remember seeing advertisements for on TV, like coming to a theater near you. And I was like, that looks really fun. I want to go see that.
Well, in a couple of weeks, Jason, that's exactly the film we're going to be talking, Army of Darkness. But before we get there, we're doing something I know is very special to you, a film next week that I'm really excited to go back and revisit, because I don't think I've seen it since it was released, and that is Monster Squad, the Monster Squad.
The Monster Squad.
The Monster, yeah, I do apologize for that. But I'm super thrilled. That'll be the show next week, guys. Please remember, send us in your what should we watch next when I learn to read.
It's okay. It's all right. You can do it. You can do it.
Yeah, I can do it. I can get it out. I feel like I'm in the King's Speech now. And no, please send your recommendations. And remember, if you're a Patreon member, if you're supporting our Patreon, which you absolutely should be, one of the exclusive things you'll get is a priority pick for any of your suggestions. Is that not correct, Jason?
That is true. Priority pick of your suggestions and other priority picks. Sorry, I have something in my eye. Hold on.
That's all right. I've just been fearful to investigate that. So, I'll let you just go with that. Right now. Either way, go.
They're pictures of my cats.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, a lot of... Yeah, well, see, I'm not gonna say the line because it's a low-hanging fruit joke. I'm not gonna make it. Yep. We'll see you next time on the VHS Vault.
Pansy.
Wow.
You pansy. You had it. You had it, and you just dropped it at your feet and was like, I can't do this. A braver man would have, but you are a coward. A coward, I say.